Ooh, what's going on, team? It's Ricky with TechBot Solutions. Hope that you guys are all having an amazing day. And yes, we are doing today a Monday Stock Talk. These are normally live streams that we host every single Sunday at 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Unfortunately, just due to my flights yesterday traveling from Arkansas to Arizona, I was unable to make it, and I was so tired that I really do appreciate you guys allowing me to go live on Monday and break down the top stocks that you guys see value in. So all I'm going to ask you within this live stream is let's make it quick, let's make it snappy. I don't want to take too much of your busy day today as it is Monday, but I hope that you guys all started the week off on a strong note, right? We either managed risk or we ended up well with profit, right? So today I did hit my daily goal a little bit, exceeded it a little bit, $671.02. So don't forget about that 2 cents. But I did that with 18 orders. I took my first trade at 8:03 a.m. and my last order at 12:25 p.m. So a couple hours of trading. It was not the most efficient trades, and I made a couple of mistakes today. But again, it's how you manage those bad trades that really allows you to determine whether you turn out for a profit or not. So really hope that you guys are excited for this little Monday Stock Talk, changing it up a little bit. I really hope that I earn your thumbs up throughout this video. And again, the only thing that I want to ask you within this live stream is if you want me to break down the stock that you see value in, literally the only thing I ask is to post it in the ticker call out format. So as long as that's something that you do, I just want to make sure that you do your own due diligence before I give you my opinion, right? You should never trade based off anyone else's opinion. So I just want to make sure that, again, we start off on that right foot. But let's go ahead and I'm going to make this just a little bit bigger so I can break down whatever stock it is that you guys see value in. I know it's going to be asked today, and it's because of the activity that we saw within the overall market. Tesla, Facebook, everything was at pretty much almost a 52-week high, if I'm not mistaken. This is 180 days, and then we're at a 1-year high. You guys can see that the overall /NQ is the overall future for the NASDAQ, I apologize. And then we have /ES that also made new highs, which is great. It looks like, again, our overall market is doing pretty good, especially after the very aggressive pullback. I think that pullback that we saw earlier this month, if I'm not mistaken, was one of the biggest pullbacks in the past 2 months. So it's really cool to see that we've recovered from that. We've made new highs, but again, I'm a big believer in going with the flow, and when the direction is in your favor, I'm all for it. But again, don't get too caught up in the hype of, does something have to continue to uptrend? Not necessarily. Whatever goes up must most likely pull back. So make sure you lock in those profits. And again, let's manage that risk. So let's go ahead and get started. And I'm going to break down at least 10 stocks today. So once you have your top stock ready, share it in the ticker call out format, and I'd be more than happy to break it down for you. So we're going to start off with NTES. Let's go ahead and check that one out. NTES. Here we go. So overall, I like the 1-year chart, but I don't look at that one not too often. But I do see, so there's 3 things that I like to focus on. And again, this is just my way of trading. This is not something that you have to do. But my 3 focuses are, I like to identify a pattern. I like to identify direction, right? And then I want to make sure that the trade is worth it. I'm a day trader, and I want to make sure that I don't take trades that offer too small of a potential for profit, but I want to make sure that it's worth my day trade. And with this, I could see a pretty consistent pattern. I think a lot of you guys could potentially agree. I like the SMA line, how it's showing signs of an uptrend. It's been acting as a support. That's admirable, right? It's been making these higher highs and higher lows. So based off of previous patterns, it wouldn't be much of a surprise, since it's pulled back already, that we potentially see a reversal. Again, patterns tend to repeat themselves. They 100% don't have to. So I'm going to set my alert for the break above 310. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's where I saw your desired entry. So your desired entry was going to be at 306. In my opinion, right now we're at 304.66. I think 306 might be a little bit too early. We could still be trading below the EMA line. That's just my opinion, but again, you do you. I'm going to set an alert if it breaks below $300. I want to make sure that, again, we don't get in too early, and if it continues to sell off, it pays to be patient. I also want to get an alert if it breaks below the SMA line, as that would be a critical point, right? As it's been doing a very good job holding above the SMA line. I want to make sure that we follow up with it and we see if it continues that pattern. It does have a little bit of margin maybe to continue to sell off, but again, this is why it's it's so important to wait for confirmation. So I'm going to set another alert. So what I see here is, again, based off previous highs, I don't like looking at overall highs. I can't expect that to happen, but I can set a resistance around this general area, 320, 321. So I'll set a resistance line right there, and then I'm going to set a potential support line. So once we break above around 310, I think that, again, we're going to be above the EMA line, and then we can show more of a clear direction, right? That this thing's actually showing signs of growth. So from around 310 to about, 321, that's about 3.67%. Not bad. That would be a swing trade. I'm not huge on swing trades right now since the market's been a little different, right? But just wanted to break that down, wanted to give you my 2 cents, and we could follow up with it. So the only thing that I would say is, based off of your plan, is that I think your entry just might be a little bit too early. And you let me know in the comment section what you think. Say, here we go. So we got Brandon B. Okay, Boomer. I don't know if I'm supposed to be offended by that, but let's put you on timeout, baby Brandon. So here we go. Let's move on to the next one. So the next one is going to be PCG. So PCG, I appreciate you tuning in. Here it goes. So it looks like the SMA line, again, I like focusing on the SMA line as I think it does an amazing job giving a better understanding of direction. We were making lower lows, and then the SMA line began to almost show signs of a potential reversal. Right now we are pulling back. We are trading below the EMA line, so I would definitely set an alert for potentially the break above $11. It still has a lot of margin to go, and again, the direction right now, there is no question that with the RSI, with the MACD, which we just want to use as a reference, it is showing that it's oversold. Just because something is oversold and a potential good deal doesn't make it a good buy, right? Because it could continue to sell off. So I'm going to set my alert for the potential break below the SMA line, as that would be a break of pattern and it would most likely continue to sell off. But I want to be very, very patient and very, very selective, as it's been moving quite a bit. If you don't do well with volatility, look at this. It dropped 14% today. Maybe this isn't something that you want to, work with if you're still just getting into trading, right? This movement and this momentum and volatility might just be a little bit too aggressive for you. But if you think that you can work with it, then set up a plan. If the direction's in your favor, then again, I think that that's a big focus of mine. And then again, just make sure that the opportunity cost is worth it. So here it goes. Let's go ahead and go to the next one. So we have a couple people sharing, but not enough sharing it in the ticker call out format. So we got PTON. So PTON, here we go. All right, so we're getting a lot of consolidation right here. It looks like it did sell off from previous highs. So again, I'm gonna write this down or draw this in as a resistance. Again, just based off previous patterns, it's done a pretty good job getting rejected here. So it makes sense on why we could view this as a resistance. I'm going to draw this as my desired support line, and as you see, it bounces around this general range, pushes back up, and it would make sense if it does bounce. It wouldn't be much of a surprise, right, if it does bounce around this general range. So I'm just going to set my alert once I follow up with it, once it gets triggered. If it gets triggered, I can follow up with it, see if the direction is actually worth and in my favor. And if it is, and I find there to be a clear pattern and the margin of profit is worth it, this one's about 9.74%. So even if you catch 5% of that, if you see a consistent pattern, if you see a clear direction, it might be something that you want to follow up with. If it continues to sell off, then again, it pays to be patient, right? So therefore, there's no reason to enter a position if you're so certain. There's no reason to enter a position early if you're so certain that it's bound to reverse. If you're so certain that it's going to do this reversal, then set your alerts, follow up with it once you get that confirmation. At least in my opinion, I've gotten into positions way too early, and it really puts you in uncomfortable positions. And I think that's where emotions are driven. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So we got Adrian asking about UGAZ. I'll break it down just because I know we're gonna be getting a lot of questions about that. I don't know if you guys heard the news. I posted it in the Tech But Solutions chat. Again, if you guys aren't part of Tech But Solutions, it's the free Facebook group, first link down below. We're the largest one in the world, so don't forget to join. But I posted it there, and I posted it in our Discord chats. And I emphasized the idea that, if I'm not mistaken, UGAZ shared that they will be going through a reverse stock split. And this is what it's showing right here. So it does plan to go through a reverse stock split. If I'm not mistaken, it's a 1-in-10 reverse stock split. So if it's trading at $9, it will go up most likely to $90, right? Therefore, reducing the amount of shares available, therefore increasing the price per share. I actually have a video on YouTube that I've made explaining what a reverse stock split is and what it means. So if you want and have time, then YouTube search that reverse stock split and then Ricky, and it'll pop right on up. So it's a newer video that I uploaded last month, so I really hope that it gives you a better understanding because Google kind of, I think, overcomplicates it. But there's no question. I mean, reverse stock split, that's besides the point. This is the ETN itself. I have a huge focus on direction, and I'm going to repeat that time after time because I want it to stick. I don't care if there's a reverse stock split. Right now, natural gas, although it is consolidating, it's not necessarily showing signs of higher highs. Yes, it is at previous lows, or yes, it was at previous lows, especially on the 1 year chart, but altogether, it's still selling off. And this is why I have such a big focus on taking it day by day. Right now, looking at this on the 180-day chart, we could see that it's trying to consolidate, but so has it. I mean, it's done this multiple times where it tries to reverse, gets rejected, 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 tries to reverse. And again, it wouldn't be much of a surprise if it still gets rejected. So I'm a big believer in direction and taking it day by day, especially when the direction is not in your favor. I know a lot of people want UGAZ to go up, and sure, it would be good if it does go up because it has a lot of margin to recover. But as of right now, the overall direction, big picture direction on the 180-day 4-hour chart, I just don't think we're there yet. So because of that, I would follow up with it, take it day by day, and not hope for something to happen and take a trade based off of that, but actually allow the opportunity to present itself. So waiting for that confirmation. That's just my opinion, so let me know what you guys think about that. Here we go, ticker symbol XBIO. XBIO. Whoop. This is just my opinion. I'm just not a big believer in this, right? I've messed with them before. This is definitely a penny stock. It's been selling off. It looks like it gets pumped from time to time. I don't know if it was because it moved 4% today that you're talking about it. Yes, it is above the SMA line. Yes, it is trying to show signs of an uptrend. I'm just not big on pump and dumps. The volume necessarily wouldn't even be worth it on the 1 day, 1 minute chart. You can see that these candles are kind of broken and there's the dashes. I really like to focus on there being clear direction, clear opportunity, and clear patterns. And with this, it just doesn't meet my criteria. I've also had a very poor experience trading bioscience penny stocks, and because of that, I wouldn't touch it. Again, that is 100% my opinion. I hope that it goes in your favor. I'm just saying, if I were you, I would not trade this because of the inconsistency. But again, we're all wired in different ways, so I wish you the best. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. We got Muhammad here. So we're going to do Roku, or where are we? Here, we'll do T-Must for Muhammad. We got Roku over here, and then we got, what is that? PLNT. So I appreciate your guys' patience for allowing me to go through this. So right now, PLNT was showing signs of a descending pattern. It began to push up. One of the things that I want to bring up is we're no longer really making higher highs. We're almost consolidating here. Can it continue to push up? Of course, we'll set our alert for that, but it wouldn't be much of a surprise because of its performance for the past 2 months on how it's recovered so much ground after it aggressively sold off. I would really think that it would be worth it. Again, yes, of course, we do want this to go up, but it wouldn't be much of a surprise. Ask yourself, it wouldn't be much of a surprise if this thing begins to pull back and correct itself. So because of that, give yourself the benefit of the doubt, set alerts, follow up, and see if you get that confirmation. If you do, set up a plan, make sure that you have some form of risk management, golden ratio, as we like to call it within Learn Plan Profit, that makes sense and it's worth it for you. Until you have that confidence and that confirmation, I just wouldn't necessarily touch it because I would hate for you to get into a position, think that it's about to reverse, and again, easily being able to see on these bigger charts that it's overbought and it has a lot of margin to give back. So set yourself up for success and stay patient. So here it goes. We're going to move on to the next one. So that's going to be LXP. So LXP, here we go. I appreciate you guys posting it in the ticker call out format. Actually, this has to be my favorite one, and this is just because of how I'm wired and how I like to see things. We all see value in different ways, and I think that we can all agree and embrace that. I'm never here to tell anyone what to do, what not to do, but I would say that this is my favorite call out so far out of everything that's been shared. I like the SMA line. I like the consistency aspect of it holding above the SMA line. I like the higher highs. I'm big on patterns. I'm big on consistency, and I'm big on direction. And I'm big on opportunity, right? Looking at previous highs and the resistance at 1120 and where we're trading right now. So even if you wait until it breaks above, 1080, right? And it trades and begins to trade above the EMA line. Looking at where it's at right now and looking at the margin that it has to cover, the margin of profit now looking at it isn't actually that big. So it's about 2 to 3%. But again, it depends on your approach. This might not be worth it for me. So the first two things checked out. And this is I'm really glad that I'm catching this within the live stream because the direction, I like it, and the pattern, I like it. But the opportunity cost for a swing trade to offer about 3%, I just don't know if that's worth it for me. And I don't know if that's enough, right? And for someone that maybe is just getting started, for someone that likes trading slower moving stocks, I could definitely see this. Or if someone's more conservative, I can 100% see why they might follow up with it. Would I trade this? Not necessarily, because I can sometimes capture over 3% on the ETNs that I trade. But again, that's just my opinion, and I wouldn't have to hold anything overnight. I like the direction, I like the pattern. It's just the margin of profit that I'm not the biggest fan of, but I can definitely see why someone would see value. So just as much as it could go up, it could go down. So I'm going to set my alert to see if we actually begin to make lower lows on LXP. So let's move on to the next one. I believe it was Roku, right? So we got Roku and what was it? I forgot. All right, so sorry. Here it goes. Oh, we had a lot of people ask about Roku today within the Learn Plan Profit chat. I think Roku is all over the place. I can 100% see why people follow up with Roku because of its volatility. I personally find that to be too risky, but again, all wired in different ways, right? So yes, I'm just gonna set my alert for the break above the EMA line, which is around 140, and I'm also gonna set my alert to see if this thing actually begins to make lower lows, as it definitely could, right? So I'm gonna set my alert on both sides. Right now, the EMA line is showing signs of a descending pattern, and we're trading below the SMA line, so double negatives there, right? Yes, the RSI is a little bit oversold. Yes, the MACD is a little bit oversold, but the direction is not clear. So if you're big on patience and you're big on confirmation, then I would really stay patient with this one and follow up with it maybe when you can become a little bit more comfortable and confident with your trade. So here we go. Let's go ahead and do about 3 more, and then we can call it a Monday stock talk, right? So I really do appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, I do apologize for the inconvenience of not hosting this yesterday, and I hope that I earned your thumbs up. So looks like O is showing or was showing signs of an uptrend pattern. It began to sell off. Yes, it is oversold. And again, I'm going to repeat it one more time. Just because something is oversold and a potential good deal doesn't make it a good buy. I've put myself in so many positions where we're always hunting for the lowest price. But in the stock market, I have noticed, at least for myself, that that's not always the best approach. I think it's much more enjoyable to trade something when the direction is already in your favor as you're putting your money in something that's already growing. Right now, yes, we did see a push up, but it's been so many times that this thing has continued to get rejected. So I'm just going to say it one more time. Patience pays, and the direction is just definitely not in your favor. So I'm going to set my alert for both sides because, again, not only can this thing continue to go up, but it can also drop as well. So let's go ahead, and we got Connor. So we got ticker symbol APPS. So, all right, I like this one. This has to be one of my favorite ones as well, and I guess the margin of profit will kind of determine if it's one that I would consider. So it's a little bit of a lower cap stock, EMA line to that general area. Okay, this one's a little bit more attractive. It comes at a greater risk, of course, right? But I could see there to be a very consistent pattern on the 180-day chart. I like that. Very clear direction. I like that. The SMA line has been a very common support. Not perfect, but common. Patterns tend to repeat themselves. They don't have to. I'm going to set my alert for the break above 780 around that general area. This is just an example, right? And I'm also going to set my alert to see if this thing begins to make lower lows. So now that we understand that based off of when we would potentially get confirmation. So again, old what is it? Old resistance levels can become new support levels. We could see that there was a previous resistance here. So if we do begin to make higher highs and it breaks above the EMA line and begins to indicate signs of an uptrend, I wouldn't go all in the very beginning. I would slowly add to my position if it actually begins to make me money, right? So it looks like it offers about an 8% margin. I find that attractive. I find the pattern attractive, and I find the direction attractive. That's just me. If it doesn't meet your criteria, then I would simply, not even add it to your list. But if it meets your criteria and you want to follow up with it, then, set up a plan and make sure you manage that risk. Oh, we got TMUS. Yep, well, I almost forgot about you. I'm sorry. Here we go. So TMUS. Okay. Had an aggressive sell-off. We got a lot of consolidation. It looks like it found a potential support, and now it's trying to show signs of reversal. I would be very careful with this because although we were trading above the SMA line and making higher highs, we recently began to trade below it. This was just me and overthinking it possibly, but it looks like the SMA line is now descending, and although the SMA line used to act as a support, right, where it would bounce, now it's acting as a resistance. And it's a very common pattern. Old support levels can become new resistance levels and vice versa. So would it be much of a surprise if we get rejected? No, but that means now we're trading something that's a descending pattern, which comes at a greater risk. So you have to take that into consideration and see if you're okay with that. So I would set my alert to see if we actually begin to make higher highs now that we're slightly above the EMA line. I don't think the EMA line means much when we've seen previous times that it's pushed above it and then still got rejected, pushed above it and still got rejected. We need to see a consistent pattern and direction. And as of right now, I think it's too early to tell. So I would view this as like a critical point. We could follow up with it. And if it does begin to, make higher highs and you have your alerts getting triggered, follow up with it and see if it's something worth taking. But Mohammed, I appreciate you tuning in. All right, I'm going to do one more. And I did see Yuzuri asked me to break this one down. So I'll break it down. So this is Mickey D's. Got the golden arches here, right? Was making higher highs and aggressively sold off. This would be a little bit of a different approach. I would first look into why we saw such a quick change of direction and what is causing this to pick back up now. I think it's very early, in the very early stages, maybe of a potential reversal, and we're still getting a lot of consolidation. So yeah, we have been making higher highs, and yes, we have been holding above the EMA line, but will we continue? If you take an early position now, then I would watch to follow up with it to make sure that we continue to hold above the EMA line and for there to be a consistent pattern and direction. If it begins to break that, then again, that means that pattern or direction is no longer there. So therefore, it might not be something worth taking. So I'm going to set my alerts here and simply follow up with it. You don't want to get in too early into a potential reversal where it ends up being the resistance instead of the support. I've been there, I've done that, and it sucks. Again, patience does pay. And one of the last things that I want to point out is look at the RSI and look at the MACD. It looks a little overextended. But again, if the fundamentals are there and you look into what caused this thing to sell off, and you can see that maybe they're implementing something that is now going to cause it to recover, then the more you know, the better that you can do. So that's pretty much it for today. I don't want to take too much of your guys' time, but yeah, I wanted to keep it simple. I wanted to see, for those that I missed yesterday for our Sunday stock talk, and there's a change in the CEO. Okay, I like that. So I just wanted to kind of go live this Monday and cover any top stocks that you guys had this week. I know that there was quite a bit of you that I did not answer or break down your top stocks. So all I ask you is if you guys want to send me a direct message on Discord, please don't message me on Facebook. Please don't message me on Instagram or anything like that, Instagram or Facebook. Message me on Discord. If you guys want to join our free Discord chat, click the first link, join our free Facebook group, and once you get accepted, you'll get access to our free Discord chat. I really hope that I earned your thumbs up. Again, we'll be trading live tomorrow with our Learn Plan Profit team. And if you want to tune on in and you like what you saw here on YouTube, again, the only team and the only option that I offer, and it's one, right? For those that want to work with me closer, is a Learn Plan Profit group. So if you want to see if it's a good fit for you, click the second link down below, learn a little bit more about it, and if you find us to be a good fit for you, then we'd love to be a part of your success. I really do appreciate your guys' time, and like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.